Welcome into Farming Simulator 25 with me, the Midlife Simster. Looking to continue our series on things I wish I'd known. A sort of kind of very beginner's guide. This isn't a tips and tricks. This is just a video for people who are new to the game and things that I wish I'd kind of picked up on before I started playing. I've got quite a lot of hours in FS22 now, and I'm still kind of amateur to middle really when it comes to this. I'm still learning and watching videos of other content creators to learn how to play the game properly. So today's episode is going to focus on the Macdon, or as I might be renaming it very shortly, the Macdon. So it forms part of the DLC pack that we had and will basically give us a 25% yield on what it's used on. However, I didn't look into that and was under the assumption it would work on grass as well as certain crops. I'm not sure that's going to be the case, so we're going to try it. Basically, we've bought field 82 and then I'm it's not in half, but I've just split it. So the plan is I'm going to plant a wheat field in maybe the backfield, the bit slightly bigger one, and basically the field was all treated. If I show you now, so it's got a full state of fertilization, doesn't need ploughing, doesn't need lime, although there's a tiny bit on the edge, but it doesn't matter because the test is going to be the same regardless. So it's good to go, basically, this field. So plan is put the wheat into the second field, fill that, then get that into its final state, harvest it with the standard class harvester. So we'll use the standard method, happy days, see how much wheat we get. And in addition then, I'll go around with the Bergman and I will collect all the straw that's been left behind. So we got a comparison of how much straw it leaves. I'll then restart the game at this point. So it's saved at this point. I'll then restart it, having written down all the numbers, come back to exactly here. So the fields are in exactly the same state, so it's a completely fair test. There'll always be little discrepancies in the way that it kind of mows and cuts and things like that, and I'll use a worker as well, so really trying to eliminate any sort of human error issues, but it should be a pretty accurate test with any such luck. Second time round then, I'll replant the wheat field and we'll get the Macdon to harvest it, which will leave the swath. We'll then go round using the class and the collector header to get the wheat, and then once again I'll run the Bergman over that to see how much straw we get out of there. On the second time, then on the third time, I'll restart the game and I will plant a grass field. And what we'll do is exactly the same test. We'll just do a standard grass field and we'll do a standard mow, see what we get out of there, go around with the Bergman, collect all of that, and then we'll chuck the Macdon on it with the grass cutting header, see how that does, how much that leaves behind, collect it all, and compare all the figures and stats. So wish me luck. It's quite a lot of effort doing this on a console. It's considerably easier to do this on a PC, so if you can even just appreciate the effort that's going into it, even if you don't necessarily like what I'm going to do or say, then please do give it a like. And if you are interested in this sort of thing or any of the stuff that I'm doing in terms of the Let's Play, give me a subscribe and I'll see you on there. But otherwise, I'll get to work and we'll speak again very shortly. So ever so slight change of plan. Save the game at this point. When we look at it, we've now got our wheat field set up there, grass field set up there, and then we can basically just run the two tests at the same time. So we'll do a non-Macdon test first, and then the Macdon test with both fields. As you can see, both fertilized, so we're all good. And both of the results will have the issue with that line just on that one edge. So, right, I'll see you for the results. Okay, so the first part of the test is done. Just for information, we did the grass, did it within the second month in November, so I know it's almost certainly going to get patched at some point, but at the moment, grass, there doesn't seem to be a difference when you harvest it in the second to third month. In 22, we used to have to wait until the essentially a third state But now it just seems that the second state and third state are exactly the same from what I've seen online. At the time of doing this was recorded on the 12th of December 24, so it may well be that when you watch this that it might have been patched. So use the big M to go and to harvest the field. All went fine. For some reason it didn't quite get that one tiny bit of corner. I've no idea why, and I'm not going to try and do it myself, because chances are then I'd end up actually taking some of the like the meadow grass, the field grass off to the side there into the test as well. So I'm going to leave that as is. It is what it is. So the amount that we managed to get when we jump back in, I mean, I could have just walked up to it and seen, but we've basically got 29,693 litres of grass within the bin. So that's the test to beat. I'm pretty sure it's basically going to be within 1 to 2% of that when I redo it with the Mac, but that's where we're at. So as you can see, the wheat is growing nicely. We'll get through the year to the point where we can harvest that with the class, and I'll see you then. Okay, end of phase 1. So the wheat has now been harvested in July. So we are looking at 4,923 litres of wheat using the traditional method of harvesting. And then in terms of the straw, 20,315 litres of straw in the back of the Bergman there. So there's our base figures. That's what we got to beat. I did make sure that the disasters were off, so that shouldn't affect it. The only thing I can't guarantee, because I haven't changed it and I can't remember if you can or not, is whether the weather, whether hail would class as a disaster or not. So I don't know. So there might be a slight discrepancy, but there certainly shouldn't be enough to affect a kind of obvious nigh on 25% yield difference for us in those two figures. So at this point, I will now restart the game without saving, go back to the point that we were at, and do it all again, but with the Macdon. So I'll see you for the various results. Okay, so grass is done now with the Macdon. In November again, tried to keep it as accurate as we could. Didn't have any issues this time with anything being left behind, but I think the result will show that maybe in the first time around, either when I was setting up or the workers maybe just clipped a little bit of the side edge grass with the big M, because when we actually jump in here, we can see we've got 29,437 litres, which is actually less than the standard practice gave us with Big M. All these figures I'm going to put on a chart, and they'll be at the end of the video. So not a great start for the Macdon. On to the wheat. Okay, first off, Farming Simulator, go home, you're drunk. We're in the middle of July and it snowed. It shouldn't have had any sort of effect on anything. I think, although it doesn't make it harder to obviously collect the harvest and stuff, I think we've done what we needed to do. So in terms of figures, let's have a look. When you jump into the class, we have 6,153 litres of wheat. It's a difference of 1,230 litres for this purpose of this test, which is roughly, I think it's just under 25% of an increase, 24.98 by my maths. However, disclaimer, I'm not very good at maths, but that's the number I came up with. So pretty much what we were expecting. The straw, 24,992. So by my maths, that's an increase of 4,677 litres. I wasn't expecting the straw to get more straw, to be honest with you. I thought that would be the same. But again, maths a little bit wonky, because I've got that coming up as 23.02% of an increase. I could be horribly wrong. I say maths is really not my strong point. So yeah, so quite interesting. I think that the things you've got to take into account when considering, if you have got the DLC in the Macdon, or Macon, however you want to look at it, things to think about: the time that it takes, because you're not getting the direct swap. You've got to run over it a couple more times. When you're looking at the grass, especially because the mower head is so much smaller, I thought it was quite slow, particularly compared to the Big M. Against another tractor with, you know, a 3-meter header, it's not going to be arguably faster. So it all depends on the circumstances. Also, a lot of this is going to come down to how you want to play the game, and a lot of that kind of like personal preferences. But I'm kind of gutted about the grass. I thought that'd be a nice sort of incentive to use the Macdon, if it gave us the harvest, or the extra yield, I should say, sorry, from the grass, because then that would be particularly useful if you were doing animals and things like that, because then when you're turning it into hay and then into silage, having that extra would go a long way, and certainly kind of push me towards using that. But again, comes down to finances. You know, we're using top-end machinery here. If you're using base game machinery, you can just about afford the Macdon, then that might be the way to go initially, before then you make all your money and then you upgrade to some better equipment. There are a lot of external factors you would need to take into consideration, but there we are. I've put the numbers on the screen for you, so it's there for all to see. Let me know if you agree, disagree, if there's anything you think I've missed out on there. If you have found this useful, please just give it a like and consider giving me a subscribe. And until next time, be happy, stay safe, and we'll speak again soon. Take care.